hope these videos are making the whole recruitment process seem less scary for PNM.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever personally disagreed with a take more. Bamarush season is trending again, and as someone who was in Greek life for a short period of time, we need to stop marketing Greek life as super fun. Even like the weird girls with personality sororities, you cannot trust them as someone who was in one of those. At the end of the day, they are still a part of and contribute to the system that is Greek life, that is misogyny, that is the patriarchy, that is all the other things, that exist within that. And I want to talk about it and spill all the secrets of it today because I think it's especially relevant with a lot of the women influencers who have been getting canceled for their past recently. Because anytime I see anyone at all who just recalls super fond memories of Greek life and talks about how much they loved it, that is a red flag for me. Like, if you truly enjoyed and recommended witnessing and participating what you saw in Greek life, that truly tells me a lot about who you are as a person. Like, I was in Greek life here at the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis, the bluest of the blue, and even I saw this stuff happening constantly, so I know that it exists at pretty much everywhere else, and probably much worse. First of all, if you even look at the process to join them, it's all very clunky. Like, yes, first of all, they go after people who are super young, new to campus, and desperately looking for community. And many schools allow you to move in early for rush so that you're isolated there without the other students. And the rush process is grueling, mentally draining, and super long, kind of on purpose. I remember a couple of days where I had to set that alarm for 4:30 a.m. to get there, and then I wasn't asleep until like midnight that night. And there's a reason for after rush, they keep doing weird hazing and other things that also have you getting up at early hours in the morning and staying there until late at night to keep you exhausted and not really thinking straight. Until, of course, you've signed all the papers and fines and stuff agreeing that you're locked in, and they make it very difficult for you to leave. And you'd think this sounds horrible. Why would you stay through that whole process? Because they would sprinkle in super fun events to make you think you're having a ton of fun and want to stay for the rest once this process is finally done. There's a reason that the Friday after rush, when both the frats and sororities are finally able to mingle for the first time, they call it Black Friday. It's one of the most dangerous nights of partying across the country on many campuses. I think you can assume from the name what it stands for. And some of the things you will witness on the night are very scary. I remember my very last Black Friday. I have no idea or memory of how I got home. I simply woke up in bed the next day, not hungover at all for some reason, and I did not ask any questions. None of my friends remembered either. On top of this, the whole system is built around the frats remaining in power over the sororities. The sororities always come second, right? In the events, frats always got the choice of what sororities they wanted to participate in things with. Frats were the only ones allowed to host parties, so all the women had to go to the frats for parties. You can see this position of power being put in place. And heaven forbid you ever speak up on these things. I remember there was one point here at the University of Minnesota where all the sororities were so fed up, so tired of all the cases we had open against frats, of all the things we had seen them get away with, of all the national headlines across the country of other frats and things that were going on during that time, that we started a petition to formally disband and disassociate from any fraternities. And we had to have chapter meetings, right, in each sorority to discuss and debate, and it started an all-out war. I remember these arguments were particularly hard for me because I had had some situations, of course, happen with the boys in which I had an open case with the school against someone in one of our neighboring frats. And a lot of the girls within the sorority, the sisterhood, turned on me and told me I'm making a mockery of the sorority. I need to stay silent. They discouraged me from speaking up against what happened. But unfortunately, there were too many girls who thought it was women's responsibility to educate the men, and if we just disassociated from them entirely, how would they ever learn to stop harming us? And I remember going up to that mic and saying, what are you talking about? If you had a friend that came to you about a boyfriend who kept doing this stuff to her, you would tell her to run for the hills. It's not her job to educate and stop that man from doing that to her. Why is this not a similar situation? But on a similar note to this, I remember even one time we were partying at a frat whose famous national reputation is spikes. And we found a girl passed out, left alone in the middle of the dance floor with boys kind of circling around her like crows. So my friends and I went in search of a sink and some cups to get her a glass of water. We stumbled across a closet that was very Narnia style because once you moved the clothing, you saw there was kind of a secret room back there. And in this room, there was a whole wall with writing on it. And they were reviews and ratings of girls, and sometimes their names put next to it. And there were also bits and pieces of clothing laying on the floor in front of the wall, most of it underwear and some other things. And I have heard rumors that this isn't the only frat that has one of these rooms that they refer to as the SA room. In fact, later, a bunch of minors, ages like 15 roughly to 18, posted a bunch of photos partying inside of that frat, with captions implying that they had possibly had relations with those men that night. Again, these are children, and the men in the frat range from 18 to like 23 years old. And all of this information led to a full-on investigation of that frat in which nothing ever came of it, because that's how protected these institutions are. And if you want to know what a frat has to do to get in trouble and still not removed, but just like shut down for a year or two, brace yourself as I say this. There was one frat that literally just had so many alleged cases against it, it was sort of like a mob boss story, where once the school finally caught them for one minor offense, they shut them down for what was supposed to be 4 years, but they came back again with insane legal teams, countersued the school for defamation, and got their sentence lessened to 2 years. And there was a different frat put on suspension for 3 or 4 years. Again, none of these frats were ever forced to leave or shut down. And I can't even say what they allegedly did on here, but it involved one girl, several men, and a trip to the hospital that resulted in injuries so bad that it actually got them suspended for a while. And I don't even know what to say to that, but that poor girl deserved more than that. We all do. It's just unsafe to even allow them to continue to stay after that. Like, I don't even know what it takes to get them removed. I've heard, like, urban legend that there are some frats on some campuses that have been removed completely, but I don't even want to know the full story of what happened to get there. These are just some of the things that are allowed and overlooked in Greek life. So yes, we shouldn't be sugarcoating the rush process and convincing girls that this is going to be such a fun time and experience. Because every girl I've ever met who was in Greek life either went through something really horrible or knows someone who went through something really horrible. And a lot of times I do wish that I could go back and stop myself from joining, but it's made me the person who I am today, who will never be the same person as I was before, and girls should know this.